Hey, what's going on, everybody? Another day in the NBA playoffs. Another team bites the dust. Well, another two teams bite the dust. So, a couple nights ago, the Pacers and Bucks played game 5, and Gary Trent Jr. was going crazy. He had, I think he finished with like 33 or something like that, 35. He had the game of his life, one of the most important games of his life. And it ended up not mattering at all. I mean, he did all of that. The game went into overtime, okay, off a Tyrese Halliburton dunk, forced overtime, and the Bucks just started crushing the Pacers in overtime. They were up with 7 points with 30 seconds left, 35 or 38 seconds left. And in that overtime, Gary Trent hit like two or three threes or something. I think he might have had 12 in overtime, all 12 in overtime. He was going crazy or something like that. But he was going absolutely nuts, playing out of his mind. But then, 30 seconds left. He turns the ball over. Pacers come down, hit a three. Andrew Nembhard, I believe it was. It was a 111 to 118. I honestly I can't remember the course of events, but I know it was two Gary Trent turnovers, eventually leading to a game winner by Tyrese Halliburton on Giannis, a former defensive player of the year. It was fucking crazy. I had it on my other screen and I was playing a game over here, and I'd peek back, I'd see, oh, down 7, 30 seconds left. Okay, that game's over. I went back to play my game, look over. 4-point game. 4 or 3-point game with like 20 seconds left. I'm like, okay, whatever. They should finish it. The Bucks should finish it. Go back to playing my game. Look back. They won. I looked right back as soon as Halliburton hit the game winner, and the fucking Pacers won and took took the series in 5. That was insane. And again, Doc Rivers chokes another playoff game. That is becoming one of the constants in life, is death, taxes, and Doc Rivers blowing playoff games. Granted, I think this one is totally and unfortunately on Gary Trent. Giannis had like 32, 20, and 13 or something like that. Like, Giannis had an unbelievable game, and his future is completely uncertain. But it's something about Doc Rivers being on a team. And if you've seen my past YouTube channels, or if you know me personally, you know how much I actually hate Doc Rivers. His old stints with the Clippers, he made terrible coaching decisions, terrible lineup changes, and then he blamed the players. He said the players are on the court, players are playing. Like, who does that as a coach? Who does that? Even you can see with the Lakers last night in their post series press conferences, none of them came to knock down JJ Redick at all. And that's what, and JJ Redick wouldn't knock his players either. So there was a lot of shots at the front office, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the Bucks lose in 5 games to the Pacers, and now we look to their future. They don't have a pick this year, first rounder anyways. They have second rounders. They don't have their pick this year. 20, I think they have a pick swap next year, and they have the unfavorable part. 3 of the next 5 years they have, or after this year, 3 of the next 5 years after that, they have unfavorable pick swaps. Then they don't have their first round picks in the other years because of the Damian Lillard trades, and for Kyle Kuzma, who turned out to be terrible. They're not going to be able to move him at all, so they're stuck with him. Honestly, my prediction is if Giannis leaves the Bucks, they're essentially going to be the Wizards, like the Wizards that Kyle Kuzma was on. That is going to be what the Bucks will be, because they are losing Brook Lopez. These are all expiring contracts. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Gary Trent, Ryan Rollins, who turned out to be a key rotation guy when Damian Lillard was out, which Damian Lillard's going to be out until probably 2027, 34 years old, and just tore his Achilles. The Bucks' future is absolutely in shambles. Now, we do get stuck in this thing of talking about the team that lost in their future, and yes, that is totally something we should talk about, because Giannis has been finishing in top 3 MVP voting for the past 5 years. So looking at his future, yes, it is a talking point. But can we please talk about the Pacers and how well they played? I mean, Rick Carlisle, when he left the Dallas Mavericks and went to the Pacers, we didn't really know what was going to happen. Then they got gifted Halliburton in the year that he exploded and became the great player he is. And he got voted most overrated, but the one thing I will say about Halliburton is he is a great player, but then he'll disappear. I don't know. He's not a superstar. He's barely an all-star, but he is a great player. But his consistency is the number one thing that makes him overrated in my eyes, and that's why coaches, players, front offices, and media voted him the most overrated player. But the guy likes to win. He can win. Let's talk about some of the other guys. Pascal Siakam. He's playing as who he has been his whole career, and playing like he was playing in that championship run for the Raptors in 2019. Andrew Nembhard is playing amazing. They just got a lot of hoopers. Obi Toppin, as a Timberwolves fan, I saw what he could do. Granted, he's not going to do that any given night, but I saw what he can do. He can be a spot-up shooter. He can attack the rim. He's very athletic. Even guys off the bench like Nesmith, they're all just hoopers. They all just hoop. That's what I can't even explain. They just hoop. And if you really like watch the sport of basketball and love the game, and you look at footwork and you look at just how you can just tell on a look, like looking at these players, you can tell they're going to come out and they're going to ball. Like no matter what you throw at them, they're going to find a way to succeed. And that's what the Pacers did against the Bucks. Granted, you have Doc Rivers on the other side coaching. He's not going to change a whole lot. Literally, the Bucks offense is just play through Giannis, and then hopefully the other guys make shots, especially with Damian Lillard out. But yes, ultimately the Pacers beat the Bucks in 5. I think in my bracket I had that. Wait, no, I had the Pacers in 6. I knew the Pacers were going to win. I had the Pacers in 6. They move on in 5. Flowers to the Pacers. They played well. Can we get an F in the chat for the Bucks? Because that franchise is totally toast. Now, last night, I am a Timberwolves fan. Yes, when I watched the games, I got very angry, very annoyed. The Lakers, and maybe I'm biased. I don't know. I saw a lot of bias for the Lakers on X as well. There is a clear bias in the officiating in this series, and people just are so quick to look at, oh, well, they shot a similar amount of free throws. That is not how you calculate the officiating. The officiating was bad overall. I will agree. It was bad for the Lakers. It was bad for the Wolves. But the Lakers were able to get away with so much more on the defensive end than the Wolves were. And maybe that's the refs trying, because the Lakers are playing small, you let them get away with a little bit more. That's not the Wolves' problem. Why are the Wolves being penalized for that? Granted, the series is over. What did Shannon Sharpe say? Other than the obviously wrong things he said. It's been a rough time for Shannon Sharpe, but what did he say? Divorce court, child support, Lou Dort, Lakers in 5. No. Wolves in 5, baby. Wolves in 5. The Lakers just couldn't keep up. They couldn't. I haven't seen anyone talk about how this is just a bad matchup for the Lakers, and this whole narrative of the 3 and the 6 seed is completely moot, because the Lakers only won one more game in the regular season than the Timberwolves did. Timberwolves had a rocky start. If we didn't have that rocky start, we're the 2 seed or the 3 seed, and we don't have this conversation. But the West isn't so black and white. The 1 to 8, yes, that is totally a blowout league, but from 2 to 8 or 2 to 7, it's all decided by like 1 or 2 games. So really, all these matchups are very even. And honestly, it just comes down to depth in this playoffs. And the Timberwolves had more depth, and more size. Like the Lakers didn't even play Jackson Hayes last game. They brought in Maxi Kleber, who hasn't played since January, and it's his first game as a Laker. They brought in Maxi Kleber to try to stop the inevitable Rudy Gobert game. The Wolves shot terribly from 3. I think it was either 15-16% from 3. Rudy Gobert had 27 points, 24 rebounds, and they still won by, what was it? Like 6? Something like that. Now, Luka Doncic was hurt. I don't think it really mattered. He still made, like, I think he was shooting like 75% since from when he got hurt. Something like that. Austin Reeves played like shit. Let's just be honest. And Wolves fans knew. We knew he was not going to be like a 24-point scorer. We knew it wasn't going to happen. Rui Hachimura, though, in games 4 and 5 went insane. Last night, I think he hit like 5 or 6 threes last night, which that is not Rui Hachimura's game. I'm sorry, Lakers fans, but you were talking about game 1. We need to come down to earth. That needed to come down to earth. That was not sustainable. But it's the law of averages, right? Mike Conley hits a big 3 late in the game in the fourth quarter, and that's really what made the difference in this entire series was fourth quarter for performance. And when you play a lineup of 6 or 7 guys, all small ball, you have to work hard on the defensive end when you're playing a team against like Minnesota with size. You got to work hard when you're playing small ball, and eventually down the stretch in the games, you can't. When the Wolves keep bringing out fresh legs, it's hard to keep up in the fourth quarter. That's when everybody's trying the hardest, and when you've been playing all game, playing as hard as you possibly can just to stay in the game, it's gonna catch up to you. And the Wolves win in 5. Anthony Edwards is talking his mess. He had a bad game. He shot 0 for 10 from 3. But he was talking that mess after the game. In my NBA bracket challenge, I will brag. I did have the Wolves in 5. I was very confident. I knew the Lakers team. Don't get me wrong. Luka and LeBron, scary. I'm more scared of Luka than I am LeBron because he just hits these ridiculous shots where like last night he hit like a step back midi and it was contested good. So he noticed it was going to get contested well or partially blocked. So he floated it up higher than a normal jump shot and just canned it. And this was after the back injury. So I don't want to hear the back injury stopped him. He was still scoring at his will, but his defense wasn't there. And again, like I said, it just looked like they were tired and they just were out of it. And I don't even know how on the bench, how you can come in and try to contribute to that team because they were showed by JJ Redick that he did not trust them and that basically they sucked. And Chuck talked about it on NBA on TNT and he nailed it. Basically just told all those guys on the Lakers bench, you guys suck. I can't trust you, which it is JJ's first year and the front office did fuck up earlier this year, but they played with what they had and they fought hard. But the Wolves played very, very bad. I'd be scared if I'm the second round team. The Wolves played terribly and we won in 5 games. So, yeah, so that's just a quick little catch up on the NBA playoffs. Just wanted to jump on here and talk about it. See you guys later.